welcome to this episode of Build a Baked Good. Today we're here with actually my mother-in-law Kathy, and she has this hankering for what is it that you like, especially this holiday season?
Butterscotch, coconut.
Butterscotch and coconut. So we're going to go ahead and make that combination. Pretty much what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a variation of a coconut macaroon, and we are going to drizzle the top of it with some melted
Butterscotch.
It's melted butterscotch.
Oh, I'm supposed to fill in. Okay, I'll fill in this.
This is to get you to participate, so that way it's not just me up here talking. So we have 14 ounces of sweetened coconut. You want to make sure that you're getting the sweetened coconut, and you can check in your grocer's their baked good aisle. Yeah, anything that you would go for your general baked goods, your ingredients, and they should have that there for the cookies. So we've got 14 ounces of that in a bowl, and to that we're going to go ahead and add 14 ounces of sweetened condensed milk. So go ahead and we're going to get that in there.
Did you put flour in there?
Nope.
At least not with flour.
This recipe does not call for flour.
Okay. Oh, this could be a gluten-free. Oh, wow. I'll have to take some to Diane then.
So we're going to go ahead and mix in the sweetened condensed milk into the coconut. Make sure the coconut is well covered. Now, in addition to this, we're also going to add some vanilla. So we have 1 teaspoon of vanilla that we've already got measured out here. So we'll just go ahead and pour that in. And again, we're going to mix that in. We're going to set this aside as well.
And you don't need sugar because
it's already sweet.
Coconut is already sweet.
Yep.
Hey,
now, if you do happen to get an unsweetened coconut, just to sweeten it to taste, I would suggest maybe half a cup or so of sugar just to add to that. If it's not sweet enough for you when you taste it, just go ahead and add a little bit more until you get to what you like. Okay, so this is kind of mixed up here. This is pretty well coated. The basis is that you want to coat the coconut. So that's all pretty well mixed in there. We're going to go ahead and move on to our next step in the process. What that's going to be is we have 2 egg whites. And this is what's going to help hold the cookie together is the egg whites. So what we need to do is we need to actually whip those to a nice, almost like a meringue peak in our mixer. So we're going to go ahead and put the egg whites in there. So that's just 2 large egg whites. And you want to use your mixer attachment for your mixer, not your paddle. You want to make sure to get that nice and aerated. Put that on. And I'm going to turn that up on high to make sure that it's getting enough aeration. We also have a quarter of a teaspoon,
Oh, God, you don't want a quarter cup of salt.
That we're going to go ahead and pour it in there.
Your Aunt Cynthia did that one time.
And that will help to make everything a little bit stiffer as it starts to form the peak. Okay, we've got this nice and mixed up. So we'll go ahead and get this out of here. So you have this set to a nice meringue consistency here. Not quite enough to have it with stiff peaks into it. You want a medium peak. Just go ahead and pour that into your coconut mixture. So pull back off to the side there. And then we're going to kind of fold this in so that it stays airy, but that it sets up in with the mix pretty well. And what that's going to do is that's going to help hold everything together once we start to scoop these out. So that's mixed in pretty well. We're going to go ahead and prep everything ready to go to get everything baking. Now, as far as your oven is concerned, you want to have your oven preset to 325 so it's nice and warm. We have our oven already preset to 325, so now we're ready to actually scoop this out. Now, the problem you run into with any recipe that calls for sweetened condensed milk, it's a nice heavy recipe, so you want to make sure when you're putting it onto the cookie sheet that you have it lined with parchment paper so that way it doesn't stick to your cookie sheets. So we have some pre-lined cookie sheets ready to go here. And we have our 1-inch cookie scoop. You can use a 2-inch cookie scoop if you'd like them a little bit bigger, but we like to have this about bite-sized. So we just start to scoop that out onto the cookie sheet. And the nice thing about the macaroons is that they don't necessarily spread out a whole lot. So it's going to come out pretty much in the distance that they are. So you want to make sure that you space them accordingly. Now we're going to go ahead and get 3 across here. And we can, with 1 inch, we can probably fit about 4 down the side. But with the parchment paper in there, it tends to fold up on the sides. And I don't want the cookie to get skewed. So I'm actually just going to put 9 on this sheet. And we'll go from there. So in our preheated oven, we're going to go ahead and pop these in. And these are going to cook for about 25 minutes or so, give or take. You want to keep an eye on it depending on how quickly your oven cooks, because you don't want to overcook them. So we're actually going to go ahead and start them off at 15, see how they're doing, and then if we need to increase the time on that, we're going to go ahead and do it that way. While I'm working on the butterscotch that we're going to be putting on this, I'm going to have you go ahead and scoop the rest of these out onto these pre-prepared
That's a good idea.
trays. So I'll go ahead and let you do that. Now, in the meantime, over on this side, while she's doing this, I've got just a little pan of water because we're going to create a double boiler. Now, if you have a double boiler at home, that's great. Go ahead and use that to break down your butterscotch chips. Otherwise, just go ahead and put your pan of water. We're going to set this to a medium temperature on our little boiler plate over here. And then in my other pan, I'm just going to go ahead and take some butterscotch chips, pour those in there like that, so that we can melt that down to a meltable consistency, so we can just drizzle it over on top of the other ones. So how you doing over there?
I'm doing good. At least I got practice with this.
Well, that's good.
I mean, these are kind of cool.
Yeah, there's no... I like this because there's no flour involved in this recipe.
No, I'm talking about the scooper.
Oh, you like the scooper? we have our nice little thumb scooper over here that Mom's enjoying.
Yeah.
And you want to be careful if you're trying to add water to this because it'll seize. And what that'll do is it'll just cause a nice mess that will essentially ruin the butterscotch since it's in chip form. And then you just have to start all over again. So this is thinning out nicely. We're going to go ahead and put it back on the double burner. So that way we can just go ahead and get it nice and combined together into a good consistency for it. And by adding just that little bit of oil to this, it's got a nice creamy texture to it that you can kind of, we'll be able to drizzle over it instead of being able to just kind of lump it on there. Just a couple of more minutes on this, it looks. And again, you don't want to keep it on there too long or else it'll wind up getting burnt. And who likes burnt chocolate, let alone burnt butterscotch? But you want to make sure that it's not lumpy either, because then it's not going to spread very smoothly. And again, it's just your preference. I mean, if you want it a little bit thicker, that's fine. If you want it a little bit thinner, like what we're doing here, that's fine too. Pretty much, I want to be able to drizzle it. If you want to, cover it. If you want to dip it. That's another option. Obviously, you want it thinner if you're going to be dipping it so that it's not sticking to the cookie. And you want it a little bit thicker if you're going to go ahead and drizzle it, but not too thick, or else you're going to wind up with just kind of clumps of butterscotch on the top of these. But no, I think that this is working out beautifully. So we're going to go ahead and turn our burner off. And if you can see how this is coming together really well, you've got that nice creamy consistency to everything. As you're turning it around, it's doing pretty well. There's some clumps still left in there, but as you stir it around, those should break up. Essentially, those are the chips that are still trying to melt a little bit. Just keep it warm and keep it moving, and you should be pretty good to go on it. So I'm going to have you finish stirring this. I'm going to go ahead and take another check on our...
Okay, is this like stirring gravy?
Kind of, actually.
I'm thinking Thanksgiving.
Yeah, think Thanksgiving. Except think Christmas more specifically, because we're almost to Christmas.
Well, I don't do gravy for Christmas, so.
Okay, and I'm going to say that these are pretty good to come up. Because they are nice and
Yeah, they look good.
browned on the bottom. But not too brown. Bring this over here so you guys can see what this looks like. Set that aside over there. Set this up. Oh, we used all of it. It's already ready to go. So this is what our finished coconut macaroon is going to look like. See how it's nice and toasted on the bottom? That's how you want it. You don't want it too toasted or else it's going to wind up burning, but you want to make sure that the actual macaroon itself is going to be cooked enough. And I think that these are actually going to be really good. So we'll go ahead and get the other batch of cookies in there. Keep stirring.
Okay. I want lumpy gravy.
Don't lump the gravy. I'll grab this here. These ones we had in for about 12 minutes. So we're gonna go ahead and time those ones for about another 12 minutes. And in the meantime, I think we're good with the gravy.
Okay, it looks like gravy.
It does look like gravy. It doesn't smell like gravy though. It smells like butterscotch. So we have this to an awesome consistency over here that we're just gonna be able to just drizzle it on. So we're gonna take just a little spoonful and just back and forth like that. And back and forth for the drizzle. Some of these are getting a little bit more than others, but we're good to go with that. If you folks at home could actually smell this, it smells amazing. You've got the combination of the coconut and more specifically the butterscotch now that we've got that well melted down and we're drizzling that on. And if your butterscotch tends to start to stiffen up a little bit, just add it back to the heat and stir it back down a little bit and it'll smooth right out again. Now this is with, I'm going to say about 1/4 cup of butterscotch chips, and we've got 2 tablespoons of oil to help thin it out. Carefully. So how do you think they smell?
They smell good.
So, in review, we've put together some coconut macaroons. We've melted down some butterscotch chips, and we have drizzled the butterscotch chips on top of the coconut macaroons.
Okay.
Are you ready to try this?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
You think they're going to be good?
Yes.
All right, let's go ahead and get one of these up here for you. They're kind of messy and gooey still because they're still a little bit warm.
This thing, what's it feel like? Butterscotch. Yep, that's butterscotch. Or messy, good.
Messy is always the best.
Good. Yeah.
This is a nice combination of the two.
Good.
All right, I guess we'll go ahead and dish some. So this has been our most recent edition of Built Baked Good, where we've combined coconut with butterscotch. And thanks to my mother-in-law Kathy here for the great idea and for being on with us with it. And you can catch the recipe on our website, and that's at www.cafesolstice.com. And if you have any submissions or if you have any ideas that you'd like to see us try, go ahead and give us an email at info@cafesolstice.net so that way we can go ahead and hook you up. Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.